Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Look Back podcast with Sam and Maddie, brought to you by drroto.com. Get your daily prescription of fantasy sports. Maddie, we have so much to talk about from this past weekend. Like, I keep hearing from everyone from all walks of life that this was the best weekend of football ever. Just ever. Blanket statements of just best weekend of football ever. Do you feel the same way? Do you agree wholeheartedly?
I absolutely feel the exact same way. I'm worried that this is it. Like, I feel like maybe
We've
we
peaked.
The only thing that can make it better is if it happens during regular season and all the games from the entire weekend are like this. That's the only way to top it, really.
Yeah, no, I think it was really, really good matchups. I think these teams paired up against each other really well. Definitely a lot of outcomes that I don't think that you and I expected based on what we previously picked for the winners of these games.
Yeah.
But still, just all in all, amazing football. You weren't left, wishing like, I wish I had another whole half of that game. The teams played every minute, except for maybe the overtime for like the last game. I do agree with that. I will say that one.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Kansas City, Buffalo. That one was brutal in terms of overtime rules, but I do like how Josh Allen put it. That if he was on the other side of the ball, he wouldn't be complaining. So why is he going to start complaining about the way that the rules are set up right now? Like, you can't do anything about this rule change right now. So I thought that was very classy of him. Really appreciated it. Albert's joining us. Hey, Albert, thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, whenever we go live, we really appreciate it. Throw up any of your comments on the games this past weekend. Let's talk about them. We're going to start off with, of course, the first game of the weekend, which was the Bengals versus the Titans. And I think the main storyline that I have at the top of my notes is that Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times. And I know you have an opinion on this.
I do. First of all, we talked about this before we went into the weekend. Joe Burrow is scary because he doesn't that was impressive mute skills. Joe Burrow's scary because he doesn't get fazed by being murdered in the pocket. He's being taken out over and over and over again, and he just pops back up asking for more. It's beautiful.
It's amazing to see that he continued that being unshaken in this game. So calm under pressure, despite being just pummeled over and over again. He didn't have that face that I'm very familiar with seeing plenty of other quarterbacks having, of just like, really, not again? How am I supposed to keep going? He had none of that. He was just like, all right, we're going to keep going.
On to the
rolling with the punches. On to the next one.
Goldfish
Will Jenkins
mentality.
joining us. What up, Will?
What up, Will?
No, definitely love that goldfish mentality of him. And I think that it was that mentality that kind of took them over the edge. I mean, the Bengals also were able to hold Derrick Henry to 62 yards. Yeah. That's amazing.
I don't feel like Derrick Henry looked that great, though.
And that's probably a big part of it.
I had a stat pulled up. The Sam Hubbard ranks number 2 in highest run stop win rate as an edge defender.
Okay. Wow. That's kind of higher than I thought he would be.
Pretty up there. Way up there. I was thinking maybe like top 10. But
number 2. Wow.
That says a lot. Number 2.
It does.
The only person above him is Cameron Jordan.
Wow. That's huge. And I mean, it's that ability he's going to have to play a big role this coming weekend when they take on the Chiefs, which we will definitely get to that game in a little bit. But what other parts of this game had you excited about them moving on to the next round that they were able to do, besides obviously the kicker having just ice in his veins?
If we're being honest, I have a few team members that are picked in my playoff challenge. So the fact that I'm going on now into week 3 and I don't have to change up my roster is very nice. I get triple the points now. But no, in all seriousness, I really want Joe Burrow to be successful. We didn't get to see him. This is basically like a rookie season for him, right?
Yeah.
He was coming off a crazy injury. He comes out guns blazing. They've been through adversity. They've been through adverse situations, and now they're thriving and they're beating really, really good teams. I like that they are so well equipped on offense, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Minus
No,
the
it
offensive
does.
line. The only thing that I would change about that team right now is the offensive line. So I just
Yeah.
get excited to watch these young players go out and perform.
I agree. I was going back and forth and doing just a practice that I like to do of just going across the board of rosters to see how these things stack up. And I really like the way that the Bengals offense stacks up against the Chiefs offense going into this game, just with how much diversity they have and the Burrow has at his fingertips in terms of playmakers.
Yeah. And a part of what the Chiefs have done is try to get in a quarterback's head
Hmm.
and take advantage of their weak points. That's not going to happen, obviously.
No, he's
You
going to
keep
remain
laying them
unshaken.
out. And the thing is you have two amazing receivers on the outside, and then you also have Joe Mixon running the ball. So,
Yep.
I mean, how do you defend that? I don't think that the Chiefs have the personnel to do it. But on the opposite side, I worry that the Chiefs' offensive line is going to dominate the Bengals' defensive line.
Hmm. Okay. Well, when we go back and forth over the Bills Chiefs game, we'll have to dissect that further. But I want to bring up Albert's point here. Tannehill is the reason they lost the game. Just talking about the Titans, I mean, what do you think they're going to have to do to right the ship for next season? Because
I
I
felt
mean,
like it was play calling.
it was just poor play calling. You feel like Tannehill's still the answer there, not like
I
make
don't
a quarterback shift.
I don't know that Tannehill's your go-to guy, but it's been the same issues that they've had all season. It's just now you're in the playoffs. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason why people didn't think that they were going to win out.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a reason for it. And listening to a lot of people across the media say, maybe this is a time for the Titans to look elsewhere for a quarterback. I don't know that this is the market for them to be making that switch in. Um, I think it's a bit too steep of a quarterback market for them to start to throw their names into the hat, but
And he got you to the playoffs
he did
with it. I mean, that team's been through
without
some
Derrick Henry.
without Derrick Henry, and that team's been through some stuff. And
Yeah.
that's where I get upset with like the people that are on Tannehill because you're fine with him as long as he's making plays and getting you places. But once you lose, it's all his fault.
Yeah.
No.
No, that's definitely not fair, and I agree with that. I mean, he did have a brilliant catch, brilliant throw to AJ Brown that just looked,
And it was a
video game
good
scripted.
game.
Yeah, it was a really good game. It was
They weren't
back and
getting
forth.
pummeled. Yeah.
No, it was a very even game, and that's why I feel like this game itself was just. I loved the matchup of these two teams. We didn't really know what we were going to get seeing them stacked up against each other, but I felt like we weren't disappointed by how it showed out. I think we were all
Not at
impressed
all.
by just how well they matched up. So that was to me really exciting. But let's move on to the Niners and the Packers. And what I love between these two games itself, kind of felt like the kickers kind of saved the day at the end of it, which is always kind of fun. But Jimmy G with only 131 yards and he's moving on. That's kind of the weird thing to me, just looking at the
Mhm.
stats and going forward. Plus he had 4 sacks. So as opposed to Burrow, who had over 300 passing yards and was sacked 9 times, Jimmy G throws it for 130 yards and gets sacked 4 times and still somehow that team wins. It's just beyond me.
I know how. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers
Yes.
was MVP for the 49ers. Somebody
Yes.
come at me and tell me that I'm wrong. He was looking
Yeah.
at one spot and one spot only and refused to throw the ball to anybody else who got open.
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, it's just plain in the stats. I mean, it was Devontae Adams all day. It was Aaron Jones all day. I mean, that beautiful catch and run that he had for 75 yards was insane. And after I saw that
Mhm.
play, I was like, okay, well, there's no way the Packers are going to lose this game. But then it was because he couldn't spread the ball around at all. I mean, one
He
catch
didn't
to
want
Lazard,
to.
one to Mercedes Lewis. Like there was just nobody else.
And I feel like that is translation from what's happening in the locker room
Mm-hmm.
onto the field. Like,
Yeah.
full transparency, you were a big drama queen. You basically told Lazard that he wasn't good enough, that you needed to bring in somebody that you were comfortable with because you weren't comfortable with any of your receivers and that
Yeah.
they weren't going to be good. And you throw this big, long fit and they go out and perform for you. Lazard made some crazy catches that got them to this point, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to get him the ball when he's open.
No.
And there were multiple times. And I mean, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan anyway, so I was kind of pleased with that outcome. But I mean, like at this point, it is what it is. He lost the game because he was being stingy.
He definitely lost it on stinginess completely. And you just, on the opposite end of seeing such veteran like wisdom and such cool from Joe Burrow that we saw in that previous game, even under crazy pressure, you look at the sidelines and see Rodgers and he looks resigned. He looks like, I just don't want to be here. And it was just, it goes back to what we talked about.
I'm here so I don't get fined.
I'm here so I don't get fined. Exactly. That was the entire like look that he had the entire game. Even in the press conference afterwards, it was very much, you know, I'm here so I don't get fined. I'm like, it was just that full mentality, not a true leadership mentality that you want from your quarterback when you're in a playoff situation where you have an MVP caliber quarterback. He should be stepping up. He should be rallying, saying, go get open for me. I'm going to be going for you. I'm going to go for you. We need to get out of this situation. He did not do that. Where was the leadership? Where was that?
He doesn't have it in him. No. I agree.
So disappointing.
The 49ers, I was kind of disappointed in their play. Specifically, the Kittle drop.
Yeah.
I felt like they made a lot of loosey-goosey mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't feel like their offensive line played that well. And, I mean, that's a testament to how bad Green Bay was kind of playing at one point. But I worry they're going to get demolished going into this next game.
Yeah. And, I mean, we can pivot between this one onto the Rams-Bucks matchup because, obviously, we have the Niners facing do I have that right? Yeah, we have the Niners facing the Rams. I'm like, this is the talk of all LA news right now. Is anytime I turn on any radio show, what I immediately hear is LA ticket holders, do not sell your tickets. Do not sell your tickets because LA fans are just like, oh, I'd rather just make the money and watch the game at home. Cool, you do that and your team's going to lose because all of the Niners fan base are going to buy up as much tickets as they can so they can make it loud in that stadium. Because they do travel really well. The Niners fan base travels very well down in LA.
I love that that's a thing.
It's such a huge thing. And it's like everywhere I'm hearing it. I have heard it multiple times today, yesterday. I'm going to keep hearing it all week up until the last minute because people still scalp tickets right before. So it's like, don't sell your tickets, people. Stop. Like,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Having been there, thankfully I was there. It is loud. And if you can get all your Rams fans there, we'll have a chance. But if it's packed with Niners fans, there is not a chance in hell Stafford's going to be able to complete a pass to Cup to anyone. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, the Rams need Stafford to be playoff Stafford that he has been the past couple games.
Yeah, no, he needs to be fully cool and collected. However, we need to address the mistakes that the Rams made to allow the Bucs to come back in the third and fourth quarter in their matchup because that was also insane.
I feel like some of this is just a Brady curse, you know? All things go
curse
wrong
or magic. I mean, I think it depends on how you want to. It kind of goes both ways with Brady, doesn't it?
It does. But also, this is what the Rams have been doing all year long. I do think that the Rams are going to tighten things back up. I do. I think that they're going to come play. I've said this before. My only concern is Stafford.
Yeah.
He's my only concern. So if he continues to play this way, they're going to be fine in this game.
I mean, the thing with the Rams and the Niners all season long is that the Niners seem to have their number when it comes to figuring out the magic key to play against the Rams. They've beat them twice this season already. Mm-hmm. One 27-24, the other one 31-10. So one handsomely, one much closer, but still the running up the middle, like the running game, like they need this defense that they've just spent so much money on and pulling all these extra assets like Von Miller. Like, we got you here for a reason. You gotta step up against this run game. Like, we need everyone, all hands on deck for this run game. If they can't stop it, I think that they could, make the hat trick and beat LA.
I do too. I think one thing that we have to take into consideration is that Shanahan is just a genius.
Yeah.
What else do you put behind that? Some of the things that he comes up with, the way he utilizes his weapons is out of this world. It's unearthly.
Thank you for this
Here's
one, Albert.
here's my only thing. We watched the Rams start to do something different in their first playoff game, and then it continued yesterday, which
Mhm.
if you listen to, I think this podcast is where I talked about how the way to beat the Bucks is to target the right side of their line. So
Yeah.
basically what they did was they bunched up on the opposite side so that the line had to pull to the left to help protect, and then they brought somebody down and took advantage of the one-on-ones. That can happen here, except their softness, their weakness is more of the middle, which is a
Mhm.
lot easier to take advantage of if that's what you're going for. They have the personnel to do it, to just get down Jimmy G's throat, get down Debo's throat. I'm interested to see if they're able to do it, because all of
Yeah.
that is game planning.
Absolutely. And I mean, we know that this entire week is going to be game scripted to make those adjustments. Sean McVay, he's no idiot. He's a brilliant coach. He's going to try and make those adjustments, and hopefully, the Rams can execute. That's just going to be the main thing. Like, you just need to execute on Sunday, and hopefully they can get that win. Because I think when you compare Stafford and Garoppolo, it's like, it's not even apples and oranges. It's apples and, shoes. Like, they don't go together at all. I mean, in terms of caliber quarterback that I think that can make the big plays that you need a quarterback to do, Stafford is miles obviously ahead of Garoppolo, in my opinion, on that.
I think that you also have to take into consideration this is probably going to be more of a defensive game, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the Rams to come out and be successful, they really need to work on some different looks for their coverages. You need some crazy sub fronts that are going to throw them off, because Jimmy G's not back there making the decisions. You
No.
have your genius on the sidelines and then up in the air who are seeing everything as you come out. So if you continue to come out and you run the same looks that you do with all these other teams, like their 49ers are going to be prepared for that. Yeah. Trent Williams, I agree. I think we're fine there though.
Yeah. I mean, prediction on that one before we go back to the Chiefs, Bills, and circling back on the Bengals with Rams versus the Niners. I mean, I'm leaning towards the Rams, but I don't feel good about it.
I'm leaning towards the Rams because I don't know that the 49ers are going to be able to stop them.
Yeah. And let's see, we got Eric joining us too, saying game plans and play calling for the 49ers are works of art.
I don't even know how else you can say that. That was beautifully put.
Very well put. Yeah,
it's watching his offense sometimes makes me feel like I don't know football. Like the fact that I have to pause and rewind on some things, like that doesn't happen very much anymore. It does when I watch Shanahan's offense.
I like it. I mean, anytime I can learn more about this crazy game that I love, I appreciate it. So I love seeing stuff that I've never seen before. It makes it fun to watch.
Yeah.
Eric also saying Jimmy just has to not screw it up. Yeah, pretty much.
Same with Stafford. Like I feel the same way about Stafford. Stafford, don't blow this.
Just don't blow it. Just do your job. Stick to your assignments. No
I agree, Eric. The Kittle play. That was rough.
Absolutely brutal.
We have to remember that Cooper Kupp's on the other side. Like, Stafford out of empty when he's efficient it's dirty. Yeah. I really don't know that the 49ers are going to be able to stop him.
I don't know that they're going to be able to stop them either. But man, Stafford's just going to have to keep it as clean of a game as he can, because if he has more than one interception, even one,
if he has one, it's going downhill. It's going
to be bad.
Revive.
No.
Do you think this is a high scoring game?
That's a good question. I feel like this is probably going to be a closer score to what their last game was against each other, like the 27-24 type range. I don't know that it's going to go over 30. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think this is going to stay in that mid 20s range of score. Maybe even 21-24, like on the low end of it. I could see that happening. This is going to be a tough game. This is going to be one where you're going to have the sweats. It's just going to be exhausting. Every play is just going to be stressful. It's probably going to be a 0-0 first quarter as well. It's just going to be slow, and then, it'll finally get off the ground.
Yep.
Goodness.
I get behind that.
All right, let's move on to the Chiefs versus the Bills. Both of us picked the Bills. I'm very disappointed. I know you are as well, that they did not finish it. But crying out loud, 13 seconds apparently is too long to let Mahomes have the ball. Is the main storyline that people will not stop talking about.
Unbelievable. And I heard people just reaming them for not. It was on the Ross Tucker football podcast. Okay. So I was listening to that and he was like, why would you give a touchback there? Why would you kick it all the way down? And I'm sitting here thinking, like, Ross, homie, I need you to go back and watch the Bedlam game between OU and OSU in 2014 and talk to Bob Stoops before you say that somebody should kick it to Tyreek Hill and just see what happens with 13 seconds on the clock.
Yes.
You will leave the stadium in tears. Been there, been that fan. You don't kick it directly to Tyreek Hill. Them moving the field like that was unbelievable. I mean, kudos to Patrick Mahomes because that was magic. And if you go back and look at those throws, that last throw,
Mm-hmm.
that was literally some magnetic, crazy things. I'm
Yeah.
just bummed because I truly feel like the Bills were a better team.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not, but
No, I mean, you know, as you watch the game go back and forth, I mean, you're definitely having this feeling, and I think it's going to be a storyline that just is going to be one for the next 5 to 10 years, depending on how their careers go. But this back and forth between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and their skill level and just the way they stack up against each other is just going to be something that we continue to talk about. And this is just two mighty foes going back and forth, a la Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. This is just going to go back and forth. And this is just, you know, falling in the category of not Josh Allen's year. Maybe it's next year. I hope it's next year because I feel like every year we've seen him put in the work and get better. And he's just performing at such an elite level. I was very surprised that they couldn't pull off the win for this. My funny takeaway was I was obviously, full disclosure, I was traveling this weekend. I had a friend's wedding to go to. I was in Lake Tahoe, so I caught as much football as I could. But one of the things that made me laugh out loud in public, and to a point where I was uncomfortable laughing in public, was I heard someone on one of the tram buses going back and forth from the plane to the airport say, "Who's Gabriel Davis anyways? Why did he get 4 touchdowns?" And I was thinking, does this guy who thinks like he sounds smart right now just watch football once a year, twice a year with his guy friends and thinks that like he's totally in the loop? I'm like, where have you been, dude? Like I had to bite my tongue because I was like, do not interject with this person. That's not worth your time. No, you are not going to do this. Have you been living under a rock? We knew this was going to happen. I picked Gabe Davis in my DraftKings lineup for the weekend, and I was so happy because of it. It saved me so much. But like, I knew that if they were going to shut down Stephon Diggs, it was going to be a Gabe Davis day. I don't think that this is rocket science. All you have to do is catch a couple games all season, and you would have seen this. Like, this is not out of left field. I love that he had such an amazing day. I know that they like him a lot there. I'm very excited about his potential for next season as well in terms of fantasy too.
I just need to know for myself, was this man wearing a jersey?
No.
Oh.
No.
Those are usually the ones.
But he was sitting between like around like 4 or 5 other friends that were like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys don't even know what you're talking about.
Let me educate you.
Excuse me, kids. Please get in line. Let me teach you a lesson.
Please grab a pen and paper. It's just a heartbreaking loss. It just is. And I mean, everybody who follows me on Twitter knows I was really rooting for that Spencer Brown thick six.
I know.
That he could chug a beer. Maybe next year.
There's always next year.
I will say it was a great game. I wholeheartedly agree with Mina Kimes, who tweeted out, "Screw the Super Bowl, give us best of 3."
Yes.
I agree.
I love it.
I'm here for it.
Yes.
I don't feel like we're going to get a better football game. I really don't.
I agree. I mean, looking at how that broke down, and again, just the caliber of these teams, the weapons that they each had, and the way that each of those quarterbacks used all of those weapons too, I just feel like this was the Super Bowl that we deserve, and we're not going to get ever.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to say it, and I know I'm going to get backlash for it.
Do it.
The taunting rule, either call that shit or take it out. But this back and forth, like, the taunting calls are they're just mind-blowing to me. Like,
Yeah.
what happened in the Bucks game, to go through all of that and then to turn around and I don't it was Tyron, I think, right? Ty I don't know.
Yeah.
Threw up the deuces and then didn't get called.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how can you do that to somebody's face, but then Brady tries to talk to a ref and gets in trouble. He gets a penalty. It's
No.
just either call it or don't call it. Also, um sorry.
No, don't worry. We don't have to pull up all of the comments that
I'm
come in.
getting distracted.
It's okay.
So oh, I don't know where I was at on that. But yeah, I either call it or don't call it, but it's really annoying to me.
No, definitely, definitely annoying. I mean, I think that to me, I'd much rather them like call every single face mask. Every time someone's
Yeah.
finger gets in a face mask. I don't care if it looks like he's turning his entire head or if it's just a little nudge. Call that every single time. I would much rather prefer that all day, every day than this taunting rule. What I miss too, years back when players would get called and fined for having a pen in their sock and they'd sign a ball and throw it in the stands. That one I get because you probably shouldn't bring inanimate objects onto the field, but it still was
Yeah.
fun to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
we're here to have fun and enjoy watching these games, aren't we?
Yeah. That's the
Just
whole point. And you're literally taking all the fun out of it. But it's just, I don't know, it's frustrating to see it go one way and not the other. Um I This is a personal take.
yeah.
I think Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback. I was mostly disappointed that they made it because this means another week of Jackson Mahomes and Brittany, soon to be Mahomes. And the stupid videos. And, like, I feel like there should be a rule. If you can't tell me what play action is, you shouldn't be allowed at a football game.
I agree. I mean, I saw that video of her, she was popping the champagne and then spilling it all in front of people in front of her.
Yeah.
I mean,
That wasn't even the bad one. The bad one was the ones that she said, "W F you to the people who said we were gonna lose. We're not effing losers. Where the F are you at now?" And I'm like, "Sweetheart, you lost the whole first part of the season because of your man. Like, where were you then?"
I know. It's super fun to just, to rain on the parade when you're winning, but where are you at
Yeah.
when when everything is going right and wrong? Like you got to be consistent. It's just
Right.
ridiculous. Um but yeah.
I'm glad I got
Anyways,
that off my chest, though.
I'm glad you did too.
My
It's
negative banter of the day. It's just like, come on.
I mean, there's positives and negatives all season long,
There
and then
is.
it's gonna happen in the middle of this playoff weekend as well. But let's talk about how we see. Like, I want to go back to the offensive line because you were beginning to talk about it before we moved on to another game. But you feel like the Chiefs' offensive line is going to do a much better job against the Bengals' defense than, let's say, the opposite way around.
I do. I think that the Chiefs have a really phenomenal offensive line, and I think that it should continue. Patrick Mahomes, if you can get to him and you can rattle him and he's not playoff Pat,
Hmm.
okay, but he just even whenever things started to go wrong, he didn't leave the pocket early. He stayed. He was calm, cool, collected. So that makes me feel a little bit better. But yeah, I just feel like more often than not, the Chiefs offensive line is going to win this matchup. But
Yeah,
I also feel like the Chiefs are going to have a hard time shutting down Burrow.
I agree. I think that's going to be
They're
the
going to win in the trenches on both sides, but I just don't think that it's going to matter. Like,
this is going to be another game where I'm going to bet the over in terms of the score. I feel like this one is going to be a big, like it's going to have to be. I mean, Burrow is going to have to literally not only be as consistent as he has been all year long, as opposed to Mahomes, he has been consistent all year long in terms of getting the ball out to every single one of his pass catchers, peppering it across his targets, not getting stuck on a single target, and being consistent with his completions as well and keeping that clean. I think he's going to have to do that again. I believe he can, and I think that if they just can't find a stopper for that, this is going to be a Bengals win.
I think so too. The Bengals can't have penalties.
Yeah, that's going to be really key.
That's what's going to kill them because the Chiefs, I don't know that the Chiefs will. The Chiefs have come out looking a little polished, but they have the opportunity. The Chiefs aren't going to be able to shut them down. They don't have the personnel. So
Yeah.
as long as they come out and they play, they're going to be fine.
No.
54.5, the over-under on that game.
Albert saying, is the over-under on that game 54.5? I'm going to go over. I'm just going to always bet the over on this. I just think that's going to be so much easier.
That's not unobtainable. I usually don't look into the over-unders until later on in the week just to make sure that there's no sneaky COVID outbreaks or anything else like that before I'm putting my money on. But
No,
right now, I would
seriously.
take the over.
No, right now, I agree. I'm definitely taking the over right now, but no. This is also going to be one where, it's going to be a stressful. These are both going to be very stressful games. Like, I don't think the stress is going to be gone in either of these matchups.
But it's exciting because we have good teams coming in, right?
We do.
And we have some younger quarterbacks in the mix, which is exciting.
Definitely.
Especially for dynasty owners. I think this is going to be huge, and it's going to be a fun weekend. So hopefully we get some amazing football to watch. Any other predictions for this matchup before we sign off for the evening? No. So I'm going Bengals and Rams. Are you the same?
Yes, I'm going to go Bengals and Rams as well. I just feel like something in my gut says that's what we're going to see, and Rams are going to be able to bring it home, keep it in SoFi so that they have themselves a home Super Bowl.
That's wild. Yeah. That's wild. And what a beautiful stadium to have it in.
Oh my gosh, such a gorgeous stadium. I know I'm not going to get to go to this next coming game. I'm glad that I did get to go to the last playoff game. That was awesome. But, oh man, that stadium is gorgeous. And Rams, don't sell your tickets. Don't sell your tickets.
Unless you're selling them to a Rams individual.
Unless you're selling them to another Rams fan, so you can keep that stadium
jerseys.
Full.
They have to come with their face painted.
Yes, that must be a prerequisite in order for you to sell your tickets. Do not sell them to Niners fans. Don't let it happen. They're going to crowd the stadium, and the Rams are going to lose. Or, do it, and then we'll just watch that dictate the whole game. But
it's going to be such a good matchup. I'm excited for football this weekend.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a really good weekend of football. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. But thanks, guys, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Maddie at Maddie Kroll, and myself at Samantha R. Holt on Twitter. And guys, have a wonderful game and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We definitely appreciate it.
Yes. Sure.
Thanks again for listening. Check out all the other content, seasonal and DFS tools, as well as premium access to our staff for all your fantasy sports questions in the members only Discord right here at drroto.com. Have a wonderful week, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out